We are live.
We're live, yeah.
Yeah.
So the final group match for India has gone down the drain. Yes, the writing was on the wall, and we all expected that the rain would wash away that final Group A encounter between India and Canada. While Canada would feel that they would have wanted to play against a team like India, but for India, Siddhant, I feel that this was a wise decision because you don't want any injuries at this stage of the tournament.
Yeah, definitely. I think they made the decision earlier today as well because yesterday, there was a team that had a chance of qualifying. A lot depended on the outcome of the game yesterday. But today, thankfully for us also, otherwise we would have been sitting in the office for hours and hours wondering whether we'll get any game time at all. But today we got to know much earlier. And yes, I think the correct decision has been made. I think they must have spoken to both the parties also, and they would have realized that India, especially, would not want to risk any injuries to their players. And because the business end, as we call it, is now next. India gonna go to West Indies. So for that, I think the right call made.
It was the right call, and also Siddhant, I feel that even if the match had begun, it would have actually ended by now. So I think they actually discussed it with the umpires and thought that yes, it's been over 1 hour.
You really think Canada game would have gotten over so early, so easily?
I expect that too because seeing.
But nobody knows how the pitch would have behaved. We haven't seen. By the way, I think we saw the pitch yesterday for a brief while, and everybody kept saying the playing surface is fit, it's fine. Yeah. Today it was under wraps for the entire time.
For the entire time, right?
Yeah. So I think the right decision has been made. But unfortunately for all those fans, and I read some comments on social media, a lot of people drove for 10, 12 hours to get to Florida to witness their superstars, especially, Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma have an outing in Florida. Not happening.
Exactly.
Guys.
I think that's the point India would also miss, that they would have tried Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma because see, this is a regular wicket, right? This is not a makeshift stadium. So you have had international matches before as well in Florida, and you would have liked Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma to get some runs under their belt before moving on to that business end, as you call it, before the Super 8s. But that's how it is. Can't help it.
Why are you going down?
I'm not going down. You're going up.
I just feel like now it's better. I think that had to do with our frame also for some reason. For a brief while, I thought, what is Love doing? Why is he just like sort of falling a little bit?
You're sitting up like India, right? And I was like Pakistan going down.
I'm India, he's Pakistan today. That's the beauty. I don't think that's true though, because love's dislike for Pakistan.
It's not dislike for Pakistan. It's dislike for the team. For the team.
For the team. Yash Chawla, our good friend Yash Chawla is messaging. Love is giving respect to me. To me, are you talking about, or to Pakistan or India for that matter?
For India. I actually thought this is India, this is Pakistan going down.
So full respect. Love is giving respect to India. But let's talk about what do we talk about, because this game
there's nothing to talk about actually.
There's nothing to talk about, honestly.
Because we have talked about so much stuff in the past.
Actually, the only thing we can talk about is the rain, is the ground conditions, because let's face it, having these games in USA clearly did not work in ICC's favor, because I'm sure they must have lost out on some revenue. Yesterday was a washout, today was a washout, and the New York pitches, those games weren't really that interesting. They were interesting because they got close perhaps, but yeah.
But I think the bigger question here, Siddhant, do you actually feel that ICC managed to promote cricket in New York or America for that matter to an extent they would have liked it to?
Not at all. I think, yes, they are trying to bridge the gap between Americas in terms of, they don't know what cricket is, and you could understand that with the headline from the New York Times. After the India-Pakistan game, their headline, New York Times' headline, spoke about how 34,000 people traveled to Long Island to watch the game, and you know how India won. They wrote India won 119 to 113. Like as if it's like points scored, like that's how cricket is judged, cricket is scored. So that is the understanding of cricket in America. But I'm sure at least a little buzz must have happened. Some newspapers, some media organizations must have carried one or two bits of information about the T20 World Cup in the Americas. But yes, considering most of what we saw were just Indians, Indians, and Indians everywhere.
But these are the same guys who failed to recognize Dale Steyn,
Yeah.
who was actually, they were trying to coach him.
Yeah.
They were actually trying to teach him how to bowl.
That was
and that
also-
guy told him that the ball needs to bounce before hitting the wicket.
Yeah, Dale Steyn hit bullseye. Okay, we have got the off stump, if I'm not wrong, with a full toss, and then there's this person telling him, "Hey, what are you doing? You got to ball the bounce before the stumps." I was like, wow, they are telling Dale Steyn how to bowl at these stumps. Of all things. Anyway, now let's talk about what India are going to be looking forward to. See, US is done and dusted.
Yeah.
I think players like Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma would be the happiest jumping on that plane and saying, boss, let's go to the Caribbean. Let's get some runs, because clearly we haven't seen enough of that. So on that count, next up for India is Afghanistan on the 20th.
One of the teams I feel that is a very good contender to win this World Cup, not just reach the final.
I still can't believe, love of, when Love said it, Love predicted it. I was finding it hard to believe, but he still backs it. He thinks Afghanistan are the dark horses who can go
or
on
the West Indies
and who can go on and
either of
win
the
the World Cup. I don't think they have it in them to win the World Cup, but yes, they have it in them to pull off some upsets, if you would call it that. Actually, not upsets anymore. I think they now are capable of beating all the good sides in the world. They came very close in the 2023 ODI World Cup when they lost to Australia. At one moment we thought maybe they are going to the semis next.
And India might not have faced Australia altogether in the finals.
Yeah, but
gone are the days.
Now we can't think about it. But now Afghanistan, currently, you think they can beat India on that day?
Absolutely. I have always been a firm believer of the fact, and I've said that in the past as well on this show, that any team can beat anyone in T20 cricket, and by that it doesn't include Afghanistan, because they are not just another team, right? They once upon a time they were called that this format belonged to Afghanistan, that they were the champions of T20 cricket along with West Indies as well. But then the rise of Afghanistan has been amazing, right? Not just their bowlers, once they were known to produce good spinners, then they had good pacers as well, and now their batting is also clicking. I think they are a very good side in India. I mean, India obviously cannot afford to take any side lightly for that matter. But then you just can't take Afghanistan as just another nation or just as pushovers. You need to consider them as better than Pakistan, if I may put it that way.
I think India would know that a team that has beaten New Zealand, and the way they beat New Zealand, 75 all out, New Zealand against that Afghanistan side, they are coming to this game, and I think India won't take them lightly. I think India know that Afghanistan can be a big threat. You remember that Asia Cup when we had that tied game between India and Afghanistan? I always remember that, and I always remember why you can't take teams like that lightly. And this T20 World Cup, we have seen that already with so many teams. Right. Nepal got so close to beating South Africa.
Nepal should have pulled it off.
Okay, Netherlands came so close to beating South Africa. USA beating Pakistan, USA giving India a fight. I think you just can't afford to take any team lightly for that matter. So Afghanistan, yes, big challenge. I think looking forward to those games. Australia is a big game for sure, but Afghanistan will also be huge. And if India wins that, I think they'll have one foot in the semis, because let's face it, do you think Bangladesh can prove to be a challenge for India? Do you think
not as challenging as Afghanistan, yes. But then again, it's Bangladesh.
But they've beaten us. They've beaten us in a World Cup before in West Indies 2007.
I'm not just talking about that as well. But then seeing the recent form, they can also surprise teams. And with Virat and Rohit Sharma not amongst runs, if India don't manage to put up a good score, remember in the West Indies, you're not going to get pitches where your bowlers will restrict teams under 100 or 110.
No, but you might get some pitches like that. We have seen 105,
but not as bad as the New York wicket, right? Talking about the New York wicket, Siddhant, yes, this leg of the tournament is over for India, but Pakistan still has to play a game in Americas. That is tomorrow, of course.
Against Ireland, but going by what we have seen, maybe because the forecast also is much better for tomorrow. So
Yeah.
maybe we will get some game time tomorrow.
But do you feel that if
Florida.
that match happens, this is the last time we see this Pakistan group together? And because there are reports that about 7 to 8 players are about to be sacked after they return. These are all on reports. Nothing has been confirmed yet. But
I think
realistically speaking, can you sack 8, 9 players from a team?
I think it's easier said than done.
I think I'm again becoming Pakistan and going down a bit.
I think it is easier said than done, considering like what are
Do
your
they
backups?
actually have
What are your
bench strength?
backups?
Right, that kind of a bench strength? Do they actually have
I
that?
think yes, captaincy wise, you can question Babar Azam, you can question anybody else for that matter, but he's your best batter. Okay, in a lot of formats. In T20s, you would disagree. In T20s, you would disagree, I know. But Rizwan, for that matter, has been a decent scorer for them.
But Rizwan as well. I mean,
who are the backups? You give me players who should just replace them in the side if you're not going to have Babar or Rizwan in this Pakistani squad.
They don't have anyone. They don't have anyone to fall upon. I think Shahid Afridi would have to come out of retirement.
No, but Shahid Afridi, by the way, raised the same point. I was watching him here and he was, of course, pissed at how Pakistan crashed out. But Shahid Afridi did mention, that, listen, everybody wants changes. Everybody is looking at, a plethora of changes when we come and talk about Pakistan cricket and what they've gone through in this World Cup. But he said, how can you change 8, 9 players? Where are the backups? Who's going to replace Babar? Who's going to replace Rizwan? And I think I completely agree with that statement from him, because it's not easy to find replacements for players like that. Or even, Ahmed Shahzad said the whole group should be sacked. The players he wanted.
That guy alone has put social media on fire. I mean, I completely fail to understand how can current players from Pakistan just sit on a random news channel and brag about other players.
Imamul Haq. Imagine Imamul Haq, who's playing under Babar Azam.
He actually defended Babar Azam.
He had to defend Babar Azam. He could not give any other opinion.
But how are they allowed to do that?
But this has been there for Pakistan cricket for a long time. Mohammad Amir.
I talked about that in the last
yesterday. You talked about it. For months, has criticized Babar Azam. He always says that you can't compare Babar to Virat Kohli, whatnot, everything. And now they are pals. Like they are playing together. Babar got him back into the squad. So I really don't know what's going on in Pakistani cricket. Anybody can criticize anybody. Even the current players can criticize their captain, even though they are not even part of the same squad. They are playing ODI test and they can criticize their captain. That doesn't work in India for sure.
True that.
But it's happening in Pakistan. So for that, I think, coming back to those changes, maybe the captaincy is the only change I'm looking at, because it's very hard.
But who will you make the captain? Because Shaheen Shah Afridi is not going to take it.
I think the next up in the line is Mohammad Rizwan.
Rizwan, I mean, can you justify the fact?
Why Rizwan?
Can you justify this? Mohammad Rizwan, he is a guy who opens the batting for you, and he plays every match in one fashion. He tries to take the match deep. He doesn't go hell for leather in the beginning. He doesn't actually put that pressure on the bowlers. Have you ever seen Mohammad Rizwan dominating a T20 match? You wouldn't have. Yes, under chases when his one leg gets cut out, his hand gets bruised, then he actually goes out there and plays a good knock. But then apart from that, I don't see Mohammad Rizwan playing any other brand of cricket apart from that. Yeah, so I seriously doubt that he would be made the captain.
His one leg, you said, cut out. That did not happen, guys. But yeah, figure of speech. I got what you were trying to say. But yes, I don't think they've got plenty of options that way. They don't have enough experienced players if they don't select any one of these guys.
Why not get a young captain?
Maybe that's the way. Graham Smith was the way to go for South Africa for a number of years.
Dhoni
for India, it worked. Yeah, but Pakistan, I don't think will happen. I think with Pakistan cricket, it's definitely not going to happen. Also, Ahmed Shahzad, whatever he was asking for is also not going to happen. He wanted everybody to be sacked. Okay, he said sack Babar, he said sack Rizwan, he said sack Fakhar Zaman, he said sack Haris Rauf, he said sack Shaheen Afridi. It doesn't happen like that. You can't just go on and sack everybody.
I want to see that game happening. I seriously want to see that game after Pakistan return home.
But anyway, I think we drifted, like we talked more about Pakistan.
Because there was nothing to
So much
discuss
to talk
about India.
So much to talk about Pakistan always, right? Because we don't know what's gonna happen. We did so many stories today. By the way, check it out on our platform. We did so many stories of what the former cricketers said about Pakistan's performance. Like Wasim Akram even mocked them that what will they do? They'll get on a flight, go to Dubai, and then go to their respective cities. So a lot of people are trolling them, a lot of people are criticizing them, and I think it was due. So yeah, that's about it. I think Bangladesh would be coming back to India. Bangladesh would be a relatively easier challenge than Afghanistan, perhaps. That is what we think.
Yeah.
But the biggest game of them all will be Australia.
Australia. So India probably would be focused on the first two games that win your first two matches, and then
What if Afghanistan beat Australia? That would be something.
I predicted that actually. You remember? We were having that discussion on the desk, and I said that Afghanistan actually has a good chance to beat Australia as well.
But I think
Anything can happen.
Australia are also very strong this year. It's not easy.
Every year, it's ICC tournament.
ICC tournaments.
it's
Australia
very
like
easy.
ICC tournaments आते तो ऑस्ट्रेलिया मतलब like क्या कहते हैं छोटे से ऐसा एकदम शक्तिशाली
like your chair.
like my chair. I guess I don't know what that means, but okay.
No, because it was going up, right?
Oh, yours was going down. Mine was like stable, right there and then. But with Australia, yes, you know, over the years we have seen like they might be out of form, they might not be playing their best cricket, but come a World Cup, Australia suddenly, you know, become this team. They have that aura that they can beat anyone.
Then they suddenly become the mighty Aussies.
You know, mighty Aussies, they were 10th in that ODI World Cup, 10th for a good amount of time.
No, I think for the first two games.
Bottom, so good amount of time, 2 games. they lost to India so badly in that first game, and then they lost another game also. 10th, imagine in the standings, and then they went on to lift the World Cup. So Australia, take them lightly at your own peril. That's the only thing I will tell anybody who asks me and says that Australia may not be as strong as they are. As Love said it.
So, Siddhant, you speak about the fact that India needs to have one hiccup before we make it to the final, and we can't have that in the semi-final, of course. Looking at these three games, do you actually expect India to maybe have a hiccup in one of those games?
India should win against Bangladesh, Afghanistan, secure their spot in the semis,
and then lose to Australia and then beat them in the final.
And then lose to Australia and beat them in the final.
What a revenge!
That's the revenge.
That's some script.
That is the revenge I'm looking at, because it happened to us, guys. It happened to us. And I remember Love and I, you know, working in the office when that night came.
Let's not talk about
19th of November, heartbreak for everybody. And yeah, we went home early. We had made plans that how we're going to be in office till 4, 5, you know, work really hard, put out some great stories, and then
the one memory I have is
Australia
I actually took out this big India flag the night before, ironed it, so that I just thought that while going back the streets would be jam-packed and we'll just celebrate the night.
Yeah.
But that nothing of that sort happened. So
It took
just
me
folded it back and put it back in. So that was.
It took me only 30 minutes to get to my house. The fastest probably I had been, you know, to my house at that point in time, at that hour in the night.
And then just to wake up the next morning realizing that what just happened, what happened last night. But let's hope that doesn't happen
that
again.
Reminded me of 2003 World Cup final also. Like some bad memories for Indian fans when it comes to Australia and in the finals. So let's hope they beat us in the World Test Championship final. They beat us in the ODI World Cup final. Now let's hope we can get one over them in the T20 World Cup final if that happens. Because let's face it, the other group is also not that easy. There's a certain West Indies with a certain Darren Sammy, now this time working as the coach. You know, he's won 2 World Cups as captain, T20 World Cups as captain. Maybe a third one is coming, and Love would be one of the happier guys because he predicted that Afghanistan or New Zealand.
I won't be happy because India wouldn't do it.
But
that's just my pure gut feeling saying that either of the West Indies or Afghanistan could pick the cup this time. And I said that before the tournament began.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens there. So anyway, I think we will leave it at that because the game is gone. Game is done and dusted. A game did not happen actually. Done and dusted. Forget that. Everything is like sort of wet in Florida because you
You know, I
saw the
think
ground.
Pakistani fans and their media cried so hard that other games are also getting washed out because of the tears.
You made this joke earlier also.
I said that Pakistan's games are getting washed out because of that. But then they never stopped crying. So
After,
other games are also getting affected, guys. Come on, stop crying.
well, on that note, we will say goodbye for now. We will, shortly, not shortly, probably tomorrow, we'll get you a special video where we're going to talk about how the Indian players fared in this group stage. We're going to rate everybody out of 10. It's a report card, and we're going to rate Virat Kohli to Arshdeep Singh, whoever was involved in that 11, because India did not change the 11. So we're going to be talking about 11 players, all 11 of them, in another video that's coming next. So stay tuned.
And my secret sources also tell me that Team India is actually going to play that video out in their dressing room just to see what scores we give them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Have we become that big? Have we? That'd be great. But anyway, on that note, that note, please like, share, subscribe, as we'd always say. Encourage us, don't abuse us, and wait for some more videos from our side. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon. Okay, bye bye.